I'm great, thank you. And you?
Fine, thanks very much. You got a nice piano at home.
Yeah, he's new.
It's new, right? A
Yeah.
Beckstein or a Waldstein? No, Waldstein. What's the name? Oh, there is a
Mm,
Beckstein and there is uh, a very famous brand. Well, I forgot, but how was your weekend, Mickey?
was great, teacher. Was great. Sorry for that day because I was in Guanajuato and the signal was very bad because I wanna had obviously the class, but the internet was awful. Was good, teacher. Uh,
I don't worry. Yeah, you had an event, right? You told me quite interesting, I think.
yeah, the last Sunday I had a race. It was 10 kilometers in Guanajuato. That's why I was there, and it was good. It was good actually. It
Did you
was.
participate or was only to watch the race?
No, obviously I participate. It was a
Oh,
running
very
race,
nice.
so
Oh, very
it
nice.
was good.
And the track, was it long, or like 5, 10 kilometers? How long was the track, or
10 kilometers.
10 kilometers? Wow.
10 kilometers. Yeah, but
That,
in comparison with I think that it was three different routes. The first one that is the route that I made that I did was of 10 kilometers. Then the second one 21 kilometers, and the third one 42 kilometers. So
wow, those were quite
yeah.
extensive.
Mm-hmm. But it was
Uh,
good. It was good.
Very nice, Mickey. Well, today I'd like us to do a short, simple exercise, which is a short writing. Writing short stories is very entertaining, actually very nice, very creative. It gives you a very nice feeling of satisfaction of creating something new and personal. And it's a good idea that we take a look uh, at the key points of writing a short story. We have done that a while ago, but also is the idea of starting with a strong idea. Let's go over the points, Mickey, and discuss them and see what you think of them, please.
Mm-hmm. Start with a strong idea.
What is this, or what does it make you think, and why do you think it is important to start with a strong idea when you do a writing a short story, yeah, short tale, short story? Why do you think this is good?
Well, I think that it's good to start with a short idea because um, it gives you like more interest in what we're
Yeah,
gonna write or what we're gonna read, depending. Because probably just for the name could attract you to read it, probably.
exactly. Very good. That's true. That's true. Then they recommend that we keep it simple. I believe that is a good idea. Not necessarily all the time, right? There are some police novels, suspense novels, writings that are quite complex, but they recommend to keep it simple. Why should it be a positive thing to keep it simple? Simple.
Mm, well, I think that it's important to keep it simple in occasions because probably uh, it is more understandable for for the
For the
rest of the people.
audience,
Yeah, for the
yeah,
audience,
that is
probably.
true. Yeah, it makes it more understandable. Absolutely, that's a very good comment. Um, then some stories. I think you were reading Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Uh,
Hmm.
uh, they have compelling characters. They have characters that are difficult to forget. You remember Dr. Jekyll, you remember Mr. Hyde that had taken the drugs and became a very violent person.
Yeah.
It's difficult to forget, right?
Hmm.
So, uh, what can be a compelling character? An example of a compelling character, or how would you make a compelling character?
mm Well, I think that the way how can we create a compelling character is uh, like putting a story behind the character. I think that in occasions I have seen, for example, movies when there are so many characters that you don't feel like attached with one because they don't have like, mm, I can say like like a story behind them. So probably it's just like another character, and you don't feel like something for it for them. Probably putting a story behind.
I would say that's a great idea. Having a story creates attachment. That's
Yes.
actually a good argument to create attachment. That's really good, actually. Creating attachment, that makes total sense. Now it says use vivid imagery. You want to be descriptive, creating flashy scenarios. You want to establish an interesting suspense ploy, and plot. You want to develop intent, like colorful scenery, right? Why would you want to do that?
Mm, well, because probably the reader could have like more more imagination when you detailed the context or the like uh, how you say like ambientada, how
With
is
an atmosphere.
the atmosphere? Yeah.
Atmosphere. Very good. That makes total sense. And then they suggest that you start already in the middle of action. The problem is already there or is about to start. Uh, why would that be so? Why would they say that we should start in the middle of the action? That the story begins when the problem is. Why it's like that?
Mm, well, because probably it is like uh, probably it's like more easy to attract the attention of the reader because it's in the middle of something important. So probably it could attach to the story and then continue with the reading.
Right. Yeah. Well, actually, yeah, that's true. We want to attract the attention of the readers as soon as possible, and the best way to do it is beginning with the story in action already, right?
Yeah.
And then they suggest that we focus on conflict and resolution. There is a problem that we need to solve, or that the writer needs to solve, or the protagonist needs to solve, and then he resolves it, right? Um, and then they say that we need to edit ruthlessly. Well, that's obviously true. If you were like a participate in a competition or something. And then the ending. What types of endings have you seen in stories, Mickey? Besides, obviously, we have the happy ending, right, which is the most desirable, right,
Hmm.
ending. But there are many other endings. What other endings have you seen in stories?
Mm, well, like sad endings too.
Sad endings, like some love stories or yeah, tragic comedies.
Yeah.
Sometimes, what other endings have you seen?
Mm, well, I don't know how was the name of those endings, but there are endings that they don't show you literally what happened at the end. So it's like um, they finish in the middle of something important. So probably you need to imagine what happened with the characters at the end or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, that is very true. That is very true. Actually, they call those open endings.
Open
It's like
endings.
Batman just got rid of a terrible criminal, right? He or the Joker,
Mm-hmm.
and looks like the Joker is in prison. And at the very end of the movie, he has a key of the cell,
Yeah.
and he's moving out, right? And oh,
Exactly.
I thought he was captured.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my mom's cell phone. Somebody's calling my mom. Give me a second, please.
Yeah, sure.
Somebody's
Don't worry.
calling my. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Yeah. So it's like a
Let's go.
Open ending, right? You don't know what's gonna happen
Yeah,
next.
exactly.
Yeah, that is very true. And then we need to read examples. Obviously, reading examples is a good way to learn from what other great writers have done. And I have a short story. It looks like it's not long. It's 5 pages, but many of the pages have dialogues, right? Like this. Let me show you.
Hmm.
They're just dialogue, so it's really um, not a long read. Not a long read. Let me show it to you. Here is the necklace. It's an interesting story. Let's read it, please, Mickey, and then we make some comments about it. Can we?
Yes, sure.
It's a very famous
Uh,
short story.
the Necklace by Guy de Maupassant. She was one of those pretty and charming girls born, as so fate had plundered over her, into a family of artisans. She had no marriage portion, no expectations, and no means of getting known, understood, loved, and waited by a man of wealth and distinction. And she let herself be married off to a little clerk in the Ministry of Education. Her tastes were simple because she had never been able to afford any other, but she was as unhappy as though she had married it beneath her. For women have no how do you say caste?
Caste.
Caste or class, their beauty, grace, and charm serving them for birth or family, their natural delicacy, their instinctive elegance, their nimbleness of wit are their only mark of rank, and put the slum girl on a level with the highest lady in the land.
Okay, well, how do you like this first paragraph? What do you think? What does it tell you?
Well, the first paragraph, I think that it shows you like the main character at the beginning, but then you can more or less imagine how is her with all the features that they mentioned here. So probably it's a good way to attract the attention of the reader.
Right. What calls your attention here? What makes you think or puts you to think, puts you in thought, and you say, well, what a situation. Maybe we have seen situations like this. Uh, I don't know. What do you think of this situation of the girl? No
Mm,
expectations, no means of getting known, understood, loved, or wedded by a man of distinction. What kind
mhm.
of woman is she? Is she very wealthy or very poor, and she lives in a very precarious situation? What do you think?
Yeah, exactly. I think that that's what took my attention because I imagine like a girl who probably if she how is that like would live in other city or with other um opportunities, probably her way of thinking will be completely different. So how the context in a way limit us to think in a way and not in other ways probably.
Yeah, yeah. I believe as you it's a great beginning, and all what it says is really clear to make us understand the context clearly. Very good, Mickey. Excellent. Thanks. Let's do the second one, please. Second paragraph.
Hmm. She suffered endlessly, feeling herself born for every delicacy and luxury. She suffered from the poorness of her house, from its mean walls, worn chairs, and ugly curtains. All these things of which other women of her class would not even have been aware, tormented and insulted her. The sight of the little Brenton girl who came to the work in her little house aroused her heartbroken regrets and hopeless dreams in her mind. She imagined silent attention bursts, heavy with oriental tapestries, lit by torches in lofty bronze sockets, with two tall footmen in knee breeches sleeping in large armchairs, overcome by the heavy warmth of the stove. She imagined vast salons hung with antique silks, exquisite pieces of furniture supporting priceless ornaments, and small, charming perfume rooms created just for little parties of intimate friends, men who were famous and sought after, whose homage rose every other woman's envious longings.
Envious longings, yes. Do you believe she's an ambitious lady who wants to improve her social condition, or she's just content the way she is? What does it make you think?
Mm, well, I consider that probably, obviously, she wants to to be in other place because in a way she's comparing with people from this, well, with the same age, but with other opportunities. So
Right.
in a way, I think that she wants to be in another place.
In other conditions, right? In other place, right?
Hmm.
Exactly, exactly. But the description is just amazing, right? She imagined vast saloons hung with antique silks, exquisite pieces of furniture, supporting priceless ornaments. I believe the descriptive way he does is just amazing, right?
She's having thinking in that from a long time.
For exactly. All right, let's do paragraph number three, please.
Hmm. When she sat down for dinner at the round table, covered with a 3 days old cloth, opposite her husband, who took the cover of the soft tureen, exclaiming delightedly, "Aha, Scotch broth! What could be better?" She imagined delicate meals, gleaming silver, tapestries peopling. How say that, teacher? Peopling?
Peopling,
Peopling.
tapestries,
Yeah.
peopling. Yeah,
Peopling the walls with folk of a past age and strange birth in fairy forests. She imagined delicate food served in marvelous dishes, murmured gallantries, listened to with an indestructible smile as one trifled with the rosy flesh of true or wings of asparagus chicken.
yeah. All the same, right? She continues thinking and thinking, imagining a fantastic world which
Yeah.
she is not part of. She's not part of that world.
Hmm.
Well, yeah, it's a bit dramatic, the story, because it shows the contrast of what her position is and what she would like to be in, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Her
of course.
dreams. Okay, this is getting worse. I mean, not worse, more intense. Let's see.
Hmm.
She had, all right.
She had no clothes, no jewels, nothing, and these were the only things she loved. She felt that she was made for them. She had longed so eagerly to charm, to be desired, to be wildly attractive and sought after. She had a rich friend, an old school friend, whom she refused to visit, because she suffered so keenly when she returned home. She would keep whole days, with grief, regret, despair, and misery.
She would weep. Weep is to cry, right? Like so
Mhm.
your sad is weep, right? So she would weep for whole days. I mean, whole days. Well, that's a bit sad. All right, let's start with the story here. I mean, the real action begins here now.
Yeah. One evening, her husband came home with an exultant air, holding a large envelope in his hands. "Here's something for you," he said. Swiftly she tore the paper and drew out a printed card on which were these words: "The Minister of Education and Madame Ramponneau request the pleasure of the company of Monsieur and Madame Loisel at the Ministry of the evening on Monday, January the 18th." Instead of being delighted, as her husband hoped, she flung the invitation petulantly across the table, murmuring, "What do you want me to do with this?" Uh, Why, darling, I thought you'd be blessed. You never go out, and this is a great occasion. I had tremendous trouble to get it. Everyone wants one. Everyone wants one. It's very select, and very few go to the clerks. You'll see all the really big people there. She looked at him out of furious eyes and said impatiently, "And what do you suppose I am to wear at such an affair?" He had not thought about it. He stammered, "Why, the dress you go to the fair in, it looks very nice to me."
Well, it looks
Hmm.
funny, but it's really a reality.
Yeah, you imagine that. It's awful.
Right, exactly. Yeah, they struggle to be invited to high society, and then you think that it's all you need, but no, then you need to be wearing this. You need to be chatting. Oh, the last time I went to New York. No, no, imagine the last time I went to Paris, and you, Lupita or Juanita, or whatever, right? Well,
Yeah.
I went to Silao to splash.
I went to Cibeles.
I went to Sibel, right?
Yeah, of course.
So that makes people very uncomfortable. You strive very hard for something, and then you get there, and you think your problems will have concluded, and actually they're just beginning. What do you think of this concept, Mickey?
Well, yeah, uh, it's something so sad, and it's something that I have noticed with people. Not only not with my close friends, but with people that I have met. That it's mm, like a competition, right? That's
Yeah,
how I
yeah,
can define it. Because yeah, as the examples that you mentioned, yeah, the last summer I went to this place, and then for example, in occasions I don't go out, so it's like, well, I just was in my house and everything was good for me. But yeah, in a way, it's like I did that, and I don't know. I don't like this type of uh, how to say, like, of way of living, because yeah, it's a way of living.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And people look to climb the class ladder. But the problem is that it's a constant competition, right? Who
Yeah.
gets higher, who has done more, who
Hmm.
has
The
had
best car.
more. Yeah, yeah, exactly. However, people ambition it, women ambition it, and sometimes men. Although I think it's more openly admitted by women, at
Yeah,
least in my experience. I think.
yeah, I have seen the same.
Okay, well, this is a very interesting story. Let's continue then, Mickey, please.
Mhm. He stopped, stupefied and utterly at a loss when he saw that his wife was beginning to cry. Two large tears ran slowly down from the corners of her eyes towards the corners of her mouth. What's the matter with you? What's the matter with you? He faltered. But with a violent effort she overcame her grief and replied in a calm voice, weeping her with uh, weeping her wet cheeks. Nothing. Only I haven't a dress and so I can't go to this party. Give your invitation to some friends of yours whose wife will be turned out better than I shall. He was heartbroken. Look here, Mathilde, he persisted. What will be the cost of a suitable dress, which you could use on other occasions as well? Something very simple. She thought for several seconds, reckoning up prices and also wondering for how large a sum she could ask without bringing upon herself an immediate refusal, an exclamation of horror from the careful-minded clerk. At last she replied with some hesitation, I don't know exactly, but I think I could do it on 400 francs.
Yeah, and then the man, the reaction of the man.
He grew slightly pale, for this was exactly the amount he had been saving for a gun, intending to get a little shooting next summer, on the plain of Nanterre, with some friends who went lark shooting there on Sundays. Nevertheless, he said, very well, I'll give you 400 francs, but try and get a really nice dress with the money. Continue?
Yes, yes, yes. Well, first of all, let's make a clear comment. What do you think of this? She doesn't have a dress, so she needs a dress. And then she's going to get a dress. Maybe she's going to need some jewelry. And it's a never ending process that uh, I think every man in life, every man on earth is normal. It's normal, actually. I don't say that this is bad, but we're always like establishing the limits of the ambition of our partner, which is okay. I mean, men and women have ambitions, and the purchasing power that we have. And even Bill Gates has a limited purchasing power. He cannot buy the earth. He can buy so many things. Carlitos Slim can buy many things, but there's like this constant struggle between what you or the other person wants and what you can afford. And maybe one day you will see it. And it's normal. It's okay. It's nothing to be worried about. But it's a constant like struggle. What do you think of
Hmm.
this situation? You want something, even yourself. I mean, I want a nice car, but I can
Yeah.
afford only a little Versa. Well, I buy a Versa, right?
Hmm.
But there are some people who get into credit and they go for higher one than they can afford. Have
Hmm.
you seen this, Mickey?
Yeah, in so many times, I don't know. I don't agree with that way of thinking because in a way you're trying to live a life that probably how can I say it? It's not according to you.
Yeah, that's
and,
true.
and it's just like a word of appearances because yeah, probably you have the newest BMW, but you are uh, you are getting in trouble to pay this, that, the services, the all the things that uh, those goods and services require, and you just live to pay those things instead of be happy with things that you can really afford. I don't know. I know, and I have met people like that, but to be honest, it's not like a way of living that I will follow.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you have it very clear, which is very important. All right, let's continue reading, please. What's the matter with you?
Yeah. What's the matter
Uh,
with you?
no, I'm sorry, Mickey. The day of
Uh,
the party drew near.
yeah, yeah. That's the day of the party drew near, and Madame Loisel seemed sad, uneasy, and anxious. Her dress was ready. However, one evening her husband said to her, "What's the matter with you? You have been very odd for the last 3 days. I'm utterly miserable and not having any jewels, not a single stone to wear." She replied, "I shall look absolutely no one. I would almost rather not go to the party." "Twah, wear flowers," he said. "They are very smart at this time of the year. For 10 francs you could get 2 or 3 gorgeous roses." She was not convinced. "No, there's nothing so humiliating as looking poor in the middle of a lot of rich women." "How stupid you are!" exclaimed her husband. "Yeah, it was time. Go and see Madame Forrester and ask her to lend you some jewels. You know her quite well enough for that." She uttered a cry of delight. "That's true, I never thought of it." Next day she went to see her friend and told her trouble. Madame Forrester went to her dressing table, took up a large box, brought it to Madame Loisel, opened it, and said, "Choose, my dear." First she saw some bracelets, then a pearl necklace, then a Venetian cross in gold and gems, of exquisite workmanship. Mansion. She tried the effect of the jewels before the mirror, hesitating, unable to make up her mind to leave them, to give them up. She kept on asking, "Haven't you anything else?" "Yes, look for yourself. I don't know what you will like best."
Okay.
Suddenly she discovered, in a black satin case, a superb diamond necklace. Her heart began to beat covetously. How do you say that?
Covetously.
Covetously. Her hands trembled as she lifted it. She fastened she fastened it round her neck, opened her high dress, and remained in ecstasy at sight of herself. Then, with hesitation, she asked in anguish, "Could you lend me this? Just this alone?" "Yes, of course." Continue?
Yes, please. She's very happy, right? Because she has the right jewel that she needs for the party.
Yeah. She flung herself on her friend's breast, embraced her frenziedly, and went away with her treasure. The day of the party arrived. Madame Loisel was a success. She was the prettiest woman present, elegant, graceful, smiling, and quite above herself with happiness. All the men stared at her, inquired her name, and asked to be introduced to her. All the honor secretaries of state were eager to waltz with her. The minister noticed her. She danced madly, ecstatically, drunk with pleasure, with no thought for anything, in the strength of her beauty, in the pride of her success, in a cloud of happiness made of this universal homage and admiration, of the desires she had aroused, of the compliments of a victory so dear to her feminine heart.
Okay. What do you think that can happen after this? Well, that's the more or less the climax of the story, right? Well, it's
Mhm.
not really the climax of the story, it's about to start. What could happen after this? What do you think could arise from this situation? There are many possible continuations.
Yeah.
What could they be?
Yes, as you mentioned, there are so many possible continuations. One of them probably that she goes with other men instead of her husband could be
That's a
a
possibility. Yeah, that's a possibility. I thought of that when I started reading the short story.
yeah, of course. What else? Probably she changed in that moment because she realizes that it's not the way of living that she imagined. Probably, I don't know. I don't
Could
believe in
be.
that. Could be.
That's the most reasonable, but we doubted that it could happen, right?
Yeah, without it. What else? I don't know. Probably she she find other person that she met. How can I say? She find other person that she uh, well that she knows her and probably I don't know. Like it starts like a conversation, like uncomfortable conversation. Like why you're here or who invited you or how it is possible um, that you buy this and this and this. Probably.
Right, right.
Like
Exactly.
this
Well,
type of girls who is just judging the other people.
yeah, exactly. It's just for the show, right?
Yeah,
Just
just
they
for
just want
show.
to look good, nothing else. Well, you notice that a creative mind can imagine many, many, many outcomes, many different possibilities. Let's take a look at what really happened, which might surprise you. Let's read the next one, Mickey,
Yeah.
please.
Hmm. She left about 4 o'clock in the morning. Since midnight, her husband had been dozing in a deserted little room, in company with three other men whose wives were having a good time. He threw over her shoulders the garments he had brought for them to go home in, modest everyday clothes, whose poverty clashed with the beauty of the ball dress. She was conscious of this and was anxious to hurry away, so that she shouldn't be noticed by the other women putting on their costly furs.
Okay.
Loisel
Yeah. Yeah.
restrained her. "Wait a little. You'll catch cold in the open. I'm going to fetch a cab." But she didn't listen to him and rapidly descended the staircase. When they were out in the street, they couldn't find a cab. They began to look for one, shooting at the drivers whom they saw passing in the distance. They walked down towards the city. Desperate and shivering, at last they found it. At last they found it, the quay one of those old night-prowling carriages, which are only to be seen in Paris after dark, as though they were ashamed of their shabbiness in the daylight.
Yeah. You notice that the high social class has many elements. It's not only first you think it's only the dress. First getting the invitation, but then it's not only the invitation. Then it is the dress. Then
Hmm.
it's not only the dress. It's the jewelry. And
Yeah,
then you notice that it's not only the jewelry, it's the car or the carriage that's gonna take you to the party and back home, right?
yeah,
And
of
they are
course.
finding out at the moment,
Hmm.
right? And then eventually you'll see that these the conversations they are having when they go to a well, for example, uh, well, I'll tell you stories later, but there are many many situations that can arise, which are interesting to analyze, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Um,
where are we? I think here, right?
mm, mhm. I brought them to their door in the Rue des Martyrs, and sadly they walked off to their own apartment. It was the end, for her. As for him, he was thinking that he must be at the office at 10. She took off
Yeah,
the garments. Yeah, of course. He needs to work.
yeah. The work continues, right?
The work continues. She took off the garments in which she had grabbed her shoulders, so as to see herself in all her glory before the mirror. But suddenly, she uttered a cry. The necklace was no longer round her neck. Ooh, What's the matter with you? Asked her husband, already half undressed. She turned towards him in the utmost distress. I I've not longer got Madame Forrester's necklace. He started with astonishment. What? Impossible. They searched in the fold of her dress, in the fold of the coat, in the pockets, everywhere. They couldn't find it. Are you sure that you still had it and when you came away from the ball? He asked. Yes, I touched it in the in the hall of the ministry. But if you had lost it in the street, we should have heard it fall. Yes, probably we should. Did you take the number of the cab? No. You didn't notice it, did you? No. They stared at one another, dumbfounded. At last Loisel put on his clothes again. I'll go over all the ground we walked, he said, and see if I can't find it.
Jeez. Now the drama starts.
Yeah. And he went out. And he went out. She remained in her evening clothes, lacking strength to get into bed, huddled on a chair, without volition or power of thought. Her husband returned about 7. He had found nothing. He went to the police station, to the newspaper, to offer a reward, to the cab companies, everywhere the ray of hope impelled him. She waited all day long, in the same state of bewilderment at this fearful catastrophe. Loisel came home at night, his face lined and pale. He had discovered nothing. You must write to your friend, he said, and tell her that you have broken the glass of her necklace and are getting it mended. That will give us time to look about us. She wrote at his distinction.
Wow. Yeah. What a situation. What do you think this can imply? What can happen when you lose a very expensive necklace of a friend who lent it to you?
First one probably you can lose their friend her friendship. Could be one.
Hmm.
Another one could be like obviously you are in debt for the rest of your life probably.
Could
That you
be.
can
Could be.
lose the few things that you have probably until
Ex-
your house.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. When you get into debt that you risk not being able to afford, that's a problem. Exactly. Exactly right. Well, let's continue with the last section.
By the end of the week they had lost all hope. Loisel, who had aged 5 years, declared, we must see about replacing the diamonds. Next day they took the box which had held the necklace and went to the jeweler's whose name was inside. He consulted his books. It was not I who sold this necklace, madame. I must have merely supplied the clasp. Then they went from jeweler to jeweler, searching for another necklace like the first, consulting their memories, both ill with remorse and anguish of mind. In a shop at the Palais Royal, they found a string of diamonds which seemed to them exactly like the one they were looking for. It was worth 40,000 francs. They were allowed to have it for 36,000.
Oh,
They begged the jewelers not to sell it for 3 days, and they arranged matters on the understanding that it would be taken back for 34,000 francs if the first one were found before the end of February.
oh, no.
Loisel possessed.
Yes.
Continue?
Yes, please.
Loisel possessed 18,000 francs left to him by his father. He intended to borrow the rest. He did borrow it, getting 1,000 from one man, 500 from another, 5 louis here, 3 louis there. He gave notes of hand, entered into ruinous agreements, did business with usurers and the whole tribe of money lenders. He mortgaged the whole remaining years of his existence, raised his senator without even knowing if he could honor it, and appalled at the agonizing face of the Führer, at the black misery about to fall upon him, at the prospect of every possible physical privation and moral torture. He went to get the new necklace and put down upon the jeweler's counter 36,000 francs. Continue?
Yes, please. Is the last part.
When Madame Loisel took back the necklace to Madame Forestier, the latter said to her in a chilly voice, "You ought to have brought it back sooner. I might have needed it. I might have needed it."
Yeah.
She didn't, as her friend had feared, open the case. If she had noticed the substitution, what should she have thought? What would she have said? Would she not have taken her for a thief?
Wow. Well, imagine he put himself. What's the word that he used? He sold his life. He sold his future, right, to repay the necklace.
Yeah.
Well, let's just read the last page. Madame Loisel.
Madame Loisel came to know the ghastly life of abject poverty. From the very first, she played her part heroically. How do you say that?
Heroically.
Heroically, yeah. This fearful debt must be paid off. She would pay it. The servant was dismissed. They changed their flat. They took a garret under the roof.
Yeah, their garret is a very, very bad uh, place to live.
Mm.
Then she came to know.
She came to know the heavy work of the house, the hateful duties of the kitchen. She watched the plates, weeding out her pink nails and the coarse pottery and the buttons of pants. She watched the dirty linen, the shirts and dishcloths, and hung them out to dry on a string. Every morning she took the dustbin down into the street and carried off the water, stopping on each landing to get her breath. And, clad like a poor woman, she went to the fruiterer,
Right, Fritter. Yes.
to the grocer, to the butcher, a basket on her arm, haggling, insulted, fighting for every wretched halfpenny of her money. Every month notes had to be paid off, always renewed, time gained. Her husband worked in the evenings at putting straight at merchants' accounts, and often at night he didn't copying at twopence halfpenny a page. And this life lasted 10 years. At the end of the 10 years, everything was paid off. Everything. The usurer's charges of the accumulation of superimposed interest. Madame Loisel looked old now. She had become like all the other strong, hard, coarse women of poor households. Her hair was badly done, her skirts were awry, her hands were red. She spoke in a shrill voice, and the water slopped all over the floor when she scrubbed it. Scrubbed it.
Scrub,
But
scrubbed it, scrub it,
scrubbed,
stallar. When she
scrubbed it.
scrubbed the floor, yeah.
But sometimes, when her husband was at the office, she sat down by the window and thought of that evening long ago, of the ball at which she had been so beautiful and so much admired. What would happen? What would have happened if she had never lost those jewels? Who knows? Who knows? How strange life is. How fickle. How little is needed to ruin or to save.
Interesting sentence, right? You need
Yeah.
very little to ruin your life. Actually, it's a strong sentence. Or you need very little to save it. That phrase is extremely strong to me, at least. What does it make you think, Mickey, of life in general?
Yeah, of course. I think that obviously I don't have experience, but I think the importance of the decisions and how a decision could change your life forever. In this case, the decision to go to that party, the decision uh,
Borrow
to
the
take
necklace.
part of the necklace exactly, and Yeah, and probably I would feel more bad knowing that it was just for a, how can I say this? How is it like capricho?
A whim,
A
whim.
whim, So yeah, it's so interesting and it makes you analyze so many things.
It does actually.
Yeah.
Well, let's continue then with the story, please.
Hmm. Um,
One Sunday.
yeah, one Sunday, as she had gone for a walk along the Champs-Élysées to freshen herself after the labors of the week, she caught sight suddenly of a woman who was taking a child out for a walk. It was Madame Forrester, still young, still beautiful, still attractive. Madame Loisel was conscious of some emotion. Should she speak to her? Yes, certainly. And now that she had paid, she would tell her all. Why not? She went off to her. Good morning, Jean. The other didn't recognize her, and was surprised at being thus familiarly addressed by a poor woman. But, Madame, she stormed, I don't know, you must be making a mistake. No, I am Mathilde Loisel. Her friend uttered a cry. Oh, my poor Mathilde, how you have changed. Yes, I have had some hard times since I saw you last, and many sorrows, and all on your account. On my account? How was that? You remember the diamond necklace you lent me for the ball at the ministry? Yes, well, I lost it. How could you? Why you brought it back? I broke you another one just like it. And for the last 10 years we have been paying for it. You realize it wasn't easy for us. We had no money. Well, it's fair for at last, and I'm glad in it. Madame Forrester had halted. You say you bought a diamond necklace to replace mine? Yes, you hadn't noticed it? They were very much alike, and she smiled in pride of an innocent happiness. Madame Forrester, deeply moved, took her two hands. Oh, my poor Mathilde, but mine was imitation. It was worth the very most 500 francs. Yeah, I was expecting that.
Oh, you were really?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
You were kind of your intuition told you that, right?
yeah, imagine that.
Wow, it's brutal. Very, very brutal. What do you think of the story, Mickey? Of the whole situation and in general, if we can make it universal in a way, can we?
Could you repeat, sure? It was a little short here.
Yeah. Uh, I mean, it's a brutal ending, right?
It
Also,
is
much effort just for nothing. They paid 34,000 francs for something that paid was worth only 500 francs.
500 francs. Yeah, it's what I was mentioned that how a decision could change your life, and I think the importance of have a good communication, right?
Yeah, true. Also.
Because if in this case, if Madame Loisel would would talk with her friend and say the truth, probably the last 10 years that he passed will be different.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. But how can you know in the moment? I mean, they want to avoid, we want to avoid embarrassment of the moment of saying, you know what, I lost your necklace. Oh, the answer could have been, as she feared, oh, don't talk to me again until you pay me, right? Or
Hmm.
what could have been in reality, you know what, don't worry, it's only a 500 franc necklace. Don't worry, it was an imitation. And then your life changes totally.
Yeah,
How can you foresee something, either positive or negative? That's a very interesting concept, right? Being able to foresee, if I do this, I'm sure I'm going to be wealthy and be very healthy. I'm going to be very happy. I'm going to have lots of friends. I'm going to have this or that. Or if I do this, the opposite can happen. How can we be certain of something, Mickey?
Hmm. Well, I know that in everything I think that it's necessary to take risks. So probably the risks that you're gonna take must be uh, lead to a good consequence. You know, for example, you're not gonna take a risk of driving drunk in the night just for take the risk. Obviously, we need to choose a risk and be aware that probably it's gonna be difficult, but if we do the right things at the right moment, probably we're gonna have uh, a good reward. Probably,
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good guidance. Very good guidance, actually. Aim for the positive, right?
yeah.
That's actually, yeah.
Mhm.
I like that concept. Well, now talking about the story, checking the 5 moments that the writer suggests.
It's my internet. Mm.
Hi, Mickey. I am back. Can you hear me?
Hi, teacher.
Hi,
Yes,
Mickey.
I took
Sorry,
advantage and I went to the bath. Sorry.
yeah, perfect. Excellent, excellent, excellent. I'm sorry, I lost connection, but we were talking
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
the concluding aspects of this short, which I find really, really entertaining.
Yeah,
So
it
let's
was
take
a
a
good one.
look at the points, at the pointers.
Okay.
Yeah, very, yeah, I liked it. Let's see. So, ya voy a acabar, madre. ¿Cómo? Okay. All right. So let's here. Let's take a look at the pointers that we had. I lost them. Where are they? Well, let me see. We're talking about what the, well, we were talking about a strong. What is the main idea of the story, Mickey? that comes to your mind that you say, "Oh, this is very strong"? What is the leading idea?
Mm, Probably mm, the main idea would be mm, understand that probably understand our context in occasions, accept our context and try to not compare with other people. I think that I would say that try to not compare with others would be a main idea because just to be part of a society of a group, you do things that probably you're gonna regret for the rest of your life.
Okay, let's see. Understand the context of life and try not to compare ourselves with others because then we could what?
We could regret for
We
the rest of our lives.
regret it for the rest of our lives. Yeah, that is very important. Yeah, we see the neighbor with a very nice car. We want to have it. We want him with a nice house. We want to have it. The lady sees a woman with a pretty dress. She wants to have it with beautiful necklaces, clothing, jewels. Yeah. What led to the problems? What led to problems to this couple? Do you think it's the feeling of vanity or covetry
Yeah, vanity. Hmm.
led to problems to the couple? Now,
Absolutely.
what do you? Yes, Mickey. I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah, of course. I think that the main problem was uh, the way of thinking that Madame Loisel had, because she wanted to be there and she was there and she didn't accept that. So she, in a way, with one decision, she affects the rest of her life and the rest of the life of the people around her. So yeah, it's so interesting.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think of the attitude of the man? Sometimes, when should you give in and when you shouldn't? I mean, how far should we give in or not give in to concede?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to look stingy. I don't want to look stingy, right?
Yeah.
Stingy, but also, I have limited resources. To be honest, I mean, Bill Gates has limited resources. His
Hmm.
girlfriend can tell him, "Hey, Bill, I want to buy the Eiffel Tower." And he says, "Yeah, but I cannot afford it, or the government of France will not sell me the Eiffel Tower." So even Bill Gates has limited resources, right?
Yeah.
So where how do we establish the limit? How do we do this? It looks like an easy question, but it leads to conflicts, lots of conflicts, at least that I have seen. Uh,
Hmm.
how do we establish our boundaries? And we have talked about this topic quite a bit in other aspects, but in this case, it's
Yeah.
really interesting. How do we establish our boundaries?
Yeah, as you mentioned, it sounds like an easy question, but it's something that we need to really analyze. I think that as we have talked, there must be boundaries in everything and in all the aspects of our lives. In this case, I think that we need to establish the boundary, trying to not affect the other. How can I say, like the other sections of our lives? If we cannot afford this because we're gonna affect in probably in the food that we eat, in the payment of the house, in the payment of all the different services that we must pay. I think that we don't need to overpass that line because for a how you say we how do you say capriccio
Whim,
for a whim, yeah, for a whim we can affect the other or all the other aspects. I think so.
we could affect other aspects. That's incredibly true. It's so important that I think we should sell the advice.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm kidding, of course, but no, it's only honestly it's true. We should sell the advice, right? No, but
yeah,
it's true.
yeah.
It's really true. If we cannot afford something because we have other aspects of life, we should not overpass our spending capacity. Due to a whim, we could affect affect other aspects of our life. Really, really interesting, Mickey. It's really interesting. So, how can we conclude this? Well, we didn't have time to write something, but we read a very interesting story, and we took it to other topics in life, right? So, what can we conclude from this short story, both in terms of real life and in terms of writing?
Mm, well, in terms of writing, I would say that it's important to recognize how instantly the writer attracts us to the story because since the beginning it started with the figures of Madame Loisel. So in a way, you start thinking about why they are saying that since the beginning. So you feel like more attached to continue with the reading.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a good story. It's a short story, but with a strong message. I would say because I think that
Strong.
there were not more than 5 pages, and with these 5 pages, it gives you a good message. And yeah, about the story relating with life. Yeah, I would say the importance of established boundaries, and in occasions accept that probably uh, it is not our time to have those things. But if we work, if we put effort in trying to get those things, I think that probably would will come at the correct time, probably. You
Yeah,
know,
well, yeah, that makes total sense. I like that conclusion.
and try to not let's say this.
Try not to.
Try not to impress the others for your appearance or for what you have. Instead, try to impress the others with how can I say with
With your
with with
virtues.
with your virtues, your way of thinking, your uh, how to say humbleness could be humility.
Humbleness, absolutely. Humbleness or humility, both of them are valid.
So yeah, I think that it is important to impress the other people for how you probably treat the others, instead of what you have, what you are wearing, the car that you have, probably.
Yeah, that is a great message. Well, with this message, we can conclude the session. Thank you for the comment and the analysis, Mickey. I think it's very
Thank you,
accurate,
teacher.
very precise. And well, we continue next Friday.
Yes, teacher. Next Friday it's okay. At 9.
All right, Mickey. At 9. Okay. Thank you very much, Mickey. Take care. See you then.
You too, teacher. Thank you for your time. Take care and see you the next Friday.
See you next Friday. Thank you, Mickey. Goodbye.
Thank
Take
you,
care.
teacher. Take
Bye.
care. Bye.